Hi! As you can see here, based on my clothes, I just recorded a very depressing review about the movie Burn, and now I feel like I want to do something a little bit more positive and fun. So I'm going to talk about Sakamoto Days. Spoiler, I liked it very much. Who would have guessed? That's I did a smart thing with my light. I'm cool. No, who would have guessed that Sakamoto Days would be more up my alley than Burn? Yeah. Cool, Sakamoto Days. You might know the manga or anime. I have watched the first few episodes of the anime, so I can tell you that the movie is definitely very different. I like that. I don't think an adaptation must be the same as the original. Yeah. Even though the anime is already not the original because it's a manga adaptation and I don't know the manga. Anyway, so this is different from the anime. And I think that's totally fine. So it works better in a movie. The director is Yuichi Fukuda. If you don't know him, what are you doing with his life? He's a very wonderful man who sometimes makes not that wonderful movies and who somehow has a fable for Kana Hashimoto, which I just can't forgive him because, as you might know, I don't like Kana Hashimoto. And so I'm very lucky to announce that in Sakamoto Days there's no Kana Hashimoto. It's so wonderful. And yeah, what's wrong with my hair? Yeah, but you might know him from the Netflix movie Once Upon a Time or Psyche Kuso or Hentai Kramen or Gintama 2. Under Ninja, he does a lot of manga adaptations. Who would have guessed? And then he sometimes does very weird things like the Untold Tale of the Three Kingdoms, or sometimes called a new interpretation of the new Three Kingdoms. And I watched around winter time the new interpretation of the end of the Edo period. And to just mentions that up ahead. Sakamoto Days has quite little of the typical Fukuda humor, which I'm sad that it is like that, but it makes the movie overall a bit more balanced because if you watch, for example, Under Ninja, the humor, as great as it is, can be a bit disrupting because it's very unique and weird and not always tonally appropriate for whatever he's doing. So in this one, you have some short moments and they work very well, but it's not very dominant here, which is okay. Then the lead actor, here the little bit chubby boy over here, is Meguro Ren or Ren Meguro, one of these Snowman guys. Snowman is like one of the most popular boy groups in Japan. His buddy with the pink hair I recently had in Specials, the movie about the dancing hitman, and now he is in this one. And he's usually a very slim, attractive guy. And here he plays this slightly chubby dude. So how did they do that? When I first saw the trailer, I felt like, oh my god, they completely CG'd him. No, it's a fat suit and it's glorious and fun. Like the whole skin is all very smooth and therefore looks very comic-esque. His glasses are mostly just like kind of white. Sometimes the perspective changes and it becomes transparent. And yeah, but with all that around his mouth and his hands, you can still see the real person, and it's quite funny. And most other characters have quite thick makeup, so they all look a bit fake. The whole movie looks quite fake. So this style with the fat suit actually works surprisingly well, and I enjoyed that aspect a lot. Why did they do that? Why did they put the skinny guy in the fat suit? Because, and I think that's different from the original, here, when he moves too much because he's running or he's fighting too much, he actually gets slim and then regains the weight when he eats dinner at home because the dinners are so excessive. I think that was different in the anime where people just see him slim. I'm not sure. Anyway, then we have Fumiya Takahashi, who plays the actual protagonist of this movie. The character is Shin, and you might know him from, I don't know, I haven't seen all that much from him, but he used to be in Kamen Rider Reiwa, the first generation. But he was, for example, in a Blue Period as well, or Ox Head Village, or Teasing Master Takagi-san. Then we have Aya Ueto, who plays the wife, if I'm jetzt not wrong. She was, for example, in Termae Romae 1 and 2 and Azumi 1 and 2. And she's very good and very funny here. This would have been probably the role that he would usually cast Kana Hashimoto, I guess. Didn't do that. Good. Do we have anyone else? We have Junki Tozuka, who was, for example, in 5 centimeter per second, or in Maru. Excellent movie. Then we have Akihisa Shiono, who was, for example, in High and Low, The Worst Cross, or in the prequel to that, High and Low, The Worst, and he was in Golden Kamui, The Hunt The Hunt of Prisoners in Hokkaido, and Golden Kamui 2. So good dude. Wasn't in Golden Kamui. Too bad. Then we have Keisuke Watanabe, who was in one of the big hits in the last couple of years. It's called My Happy Marriage. I haven't seen it. But he will be in Bad Lieutenant Tokyo, that new Takashi Miike take on this Bad Lieutenant movie with Lily James, and I think Liv Morgan is in there as well, the wrestler. Funny. Then we have Takumi Kitamura, did a lot of good stuff, was, for example, in Tokyo Revengers, was in Destruction Babies, I Am What I Am, or My Blood and Bones in a Flowing Galaxy, completely underrated movie by the wonderful director Sabu. You should watch his movies. They're wonderful, wonderful. Oh, we have Kenjiro Tsuda, who does a lot of voice acting, for example, in Chainsaw Man, or 100 Meters, and Shin Ultraman, he was there. And of course, regular in Fukuda's movies, we have Tsuyoshi Muro, most famous for stuff like Summertime Machine Blues, a hentai Come and Dance With Me, or The Story of Yonosuke, and a little small cameo here, Jiro Sato, wonderful, for example, Missing Ping Pong Hush, Once Upon a Crime, or any other Fukuda movie, so he's everywhere. So enough about the cast, back to the movie. So what's the story if you don't know? There's a legendary hitman whose name is Sakamoto, not Kunioka, oh my god. And for the love of his life, he chooses to quit his job, and the organization is not all that pleased and sends some dudes to take care of him. And the first one who gets sent to him is Shin, who he already knows. And basically he gets adopted into the family and then stays there and becomes his partner. And basically it's Shin's story. The focus is not on Sakamoto, which would be quite weird anyway, because that's one of these movies where this title character is just way too strong to, for any relevant storytelling. He just beats anyone anyway. The question is just how and how funny it is. So I don't mind having a weaker character as our point of view character while we look at this monstrous dude. And yeah, then they do some daily life stuff like buying a school bag for the daughter or going to an amusement park while various professional killers attack him. And yeah, they try to take care of it while keeping it a secret from wife and daughter. The wife is very, very strict about this whole killer thing and doesn't want him to kill anyone. So yeah, we know this trope. Anyway, so that's basically the first half, and in the second half there's some other people coming up. I'm pretty sure the design is too cool to not be in the manga. There's a villain with a deer head and some like stitching on his body, and I guess that's hint enough how far this story goes. There's something with a laboratory as well. Yeah, but in the end, they just take care of this whole situation of people trying to kill him, and then yeah, something else comes up. It's not necessary to talk about the story with too many spoilers, just so much. Obviously, at the end, there's still bad people left, and they can, if this movie is successful enough, they can easily continue the show. I don't know. Let's see. That's always a funny thing with Fukuda. I'm never sure how popular his movies then actually are. Like Under Ninja, I thought it was pretty cool, had some flaws. This one has some flaws as well. I think overall it's a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know if it's popular enough to create a sequel, and then he has so much stuff going on. Like, what's he doing? I don't know. Anyway, so it's a very entertaining movie. It's a very action heavy. Like I said, the comedy moments are there. They're a little bit briefer than some of the exchanges like in Under Ninja, or like new interpretation movies, which are just like comedy sketch shows basically. And here it's more brief. You have some small vocal exchanges, but basically it keeps, I think, the tonality of the manga relatively intact. So not too many worries here. Maybe there was too much complaining about Under Ninja. I know a lot of people were disappointed. I have no idea. I enjoyed it. I don't know the original. As usual, I don't know the original. I just watch the live action movies. Yeah, it's quite funny. The action is good. About the action, I can say that the action director, there's a Keiya Tabuchi, and he has done a lot. He's a regular action director for Fukuda, and he has worked on some stuff, for example, like the Shinkansen bomb movie. What was the English title? Bullet Train Explosion. And he has done some other amazing stuff like Shin Kamen Rider, with the problem that Anno was so unsatisfied with his work, especially during the final battle, that they had a big argument, and he basically had to ask the actors to come up with a fight choreography that's a little bit more realistic and grounded. So yeah, he did Revolver Lily wonderful, and he did the completely terrible violence action. So where does this put Sakamoto Days? I would say somewhere in the middle. It's not as good as Shin Kamen Rider. It's not as bad as the violence action. The action overall is very fast. It's filmed for my taste a little bit too close. It's quite cut heavy, quite CG heavy, especially as the movie continues. So yeah, I guess a lot of people will not enjoy that as much. Some action scenes, I think, in Under Ninja were better in Shin Kamen Rider anyway, but I think it works out all right because this Sakamoto is this super fighter who is just faster and better than everyone else. So I think it fits the movie quite okay, but yeah, it's a style that's not for everyone and not for me overall, but it's okay. It works well enough. And we have a lot of fun settings, especially I would say the big highlight is the middle point. Let's go to the amusement park bit. There's like the best combination of sets, funky ideas. We have, of course, a fight with a mascot costume. We have a roller coaster ride, a literal. We have like horror house, a haunted house, and all these things. And there's the best villain character, who's like a little bit chubby bearded guy with a knit hat and bomb balls and like rocket powered punches and stuff, and he's just hilarious and wonderful. And that's maybe my favorite bit of the movie. You have these two weird side characters, like a dude with long blonde hair and a girl in a gothic Lolita outfit with a buzzsaw. Is it a buzzsaw? Anyway, she's just chopping up people and stuff, which is quite hilarious. We have this sniper dude who follows Sakamoto around, who becomes quite important at some point, and who actually does a wonderful thing that should happen in more movies, like going to the hospital. Good choice. So this, I think this like wild bunch of characters that we just get here, I'm sure if they all appear in the manga, it's quite drawn out. I know he has this girl working in his shop who escaped the Chinese mafia, and there's an extra episode in the anime, at least, where they go and basically get her, and here she's just there, and she meets her when he first comes to the shop. So it's a little bit different setup and some stuff cut out, but all the characters that they have in here for this movie are all hilarious and fun and great, and I had a really, really good time. And this whole thing between a super killer and scared of his wife is, of course, a very common trope, but it's still fun the way it plays out. The actors do a good enough job. Like I mentioned in the burn video, we have the whole time, or not the whole time, but quite often Shin's like thinking about what's going on. So basically the voiceover commentary about what's happening, which I think for this kind of movie is totally okay, because it's not a deep character drama, it's just silly fun, and a little bit more talking may add a little bit more joy. So depending on the film, you can do the same thing, one time good, one time bad. As a wise man said, there's a good and a bad version of everything. And here, I wouldn't even say it's really good. It's just something that's not bad. So maybe there's a bad and a not bad version of everything. It works out all pretty well. This whole point where the movie ends, it feels a little bit like there are two story arcs smashed together, and then instead of just adding more, it decides to stop. Could have stopped earlier or later. There could have been a third arc. I don't know. Works well enough. Doesn't feel too forced, like these two bits together to one story and then deciding to not tell more. works well enough. It's not the most elegant thing, but yeah, that's a problem if you adapt a long running manga, that you have to decide like how much can you compress to a movie that makes enough sense in itself. And I think here this story arc from Shin comes to the shop and basically finds his new place to be, to he finishes up with his past, is good enough as a story arc for one movie, and everything else got cut or compressed, I'm pretty sure. But it's nice and fun, and yeah, like I said, especially all the like various characters entertain me a lot. The action is good enough. The jokes are could be one or two more, but it's fine. So overall, I was very well entertained. Maybe a very good start to get in the Fukada verse. Not his best movie. What's his best movie? Probably Psychic Kuso, even though it has a lot of Kana Hashimoto. But yeah, that's maybe his best. It's just crazy and hilarious. Joshi's was pretty good too. He made a lot of good stuff. Gintama. Difficult to choose, but maybe Psychic Kuso. Yeah, anyway, that's, I guess, all I have to say about this. If you're a fan of very faithful manga adaptations or anime adaptations, you will probably be disappointed. If you're a hardcore Fukuda comedy fan, you might be disappointed, but he has done stuff like this with relatively reduced Fukuda humor quite some time, so that should be fine. I guess Fukuda fans might be happy. I was very happy, at least. Maybe because Burn was so disappointing before, I enjoyed this even more. I didn't see them on the same day, but close enough to each other. Anyway, that's all I want to say about Sakamoto Days. Someone asked me if it's already out for watching. It's out for watching if you live in Japan and are willing to pay money to go to the cinema. Sorry. Depending on when you watch this video, maybe it's already out somewhere else, but from my point of view, yeah, it's only playing Japanese cinemas and you might have to wait a little bit. But I wouldn't be surprised if this gets some kind of release. It's a popular manga. Why not? Anyway, thank you very much. Have a nice day. See you. Bye.